Good morning, scary world. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I am looking for feedback, and I've been looking for feedback for a while. This was recorded back in January, and I've been concerned about my kids and their well-being and things like that. So what I'm looking for is help from anyone who sees this. And how can I say this? I'm trying to explain this. Maybe I'll just play the episode and then come back in with my comments. So let's get this up and going here. Come on, there we are. All right, let me just play this and then I'll come back in with my thoughts. This is just a quick little 2.5 minute thing.
Good morning, everyone. This is kind of like a casting call, public service announcement, whatever you want to call it. Whatever this is, I'm just trying to help. So let me throw something out there to my audience, and hopefully I'll get some feedback from either my audience or anybody, really. I'm not going to say what sparked all this. It's something that's been on my mind for a while, and now it's even more critical that things start happening. So I'm asking for help, and this is what I'm looking for. You know how we all have our recovery peers, we have our podcasts, we have our YouTube, we have all of these different 12-step programs. What about our kids? What if we were to ask our kids, and their anonymity could be totally protected? What if we were to ask our kids to share their experience, strength, and hope, just what it's like to be a kid these days and growing up, and to tailor a podcast, YouTube, or whatever it is to these kids who might be struggling? I mean, we don't know who the next school shooter is going to be. We don't know who the next violent gang is going to be. We don't know any of this stuff. We don't know who the next addict's going to be. We don't know who the next alcoholic's going to be. But what I've realized from listening to a whole bunch of different people talk is that underneath all of this addiction and underneath all of this stuff that we do to ourselves, all the behaviors are the same. It starts in childhood. And if we can start getting through to our kids now, they do have the power to change the world. And not only that, we have the power to change our world too. This is how change starts. This is how change happens. So I'm asking for help. Please contact me at averagehumanbeing1875@gmail.com, and I'll put the email in the show notes. And I'm just hoping for feedback from this. And that's all. Have a great day.
That's not what I was trying to do. There, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I was looking at the other screen. So yeah, I know that there are programs out there for kids. There's Alateen, and I know that there's Teen Challenge for like when you're a little bit older. And Scott from the Sober Heathen said he was going to be making a Discord group where people can chat, kind of like people like me, if you remember the whole AOL dial-up chat room thing, but this would be a little more secure, but it would be for kids. The whole reason why I was looking, or still am looking for help for our kids, is because we as adults, we don't have life figured out. So how can we teach our kids good coping skills? Like, how is the world ever going to change if nobody thinks outside their programming, if nobody thinks differently? Kids can only do what they've been taught. And if they've been taught by adults who weren't taught how to deal with feelings or things like that, there's really not much hope for things ever changing or getting better. We're all just stuck in the same cycle, in the same loop. And the only way to get out of that is to do something drastically different, because the things that we've been doing all these years, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've sure noticed that things somehow they keep getting worse rather than better. So why is that? It's because we're all lost. We don't know who we are. We don't know how to deal with feelings. And we're trying to apply the same principles that our grandparents and their grandparents learned to the problems of today. But society is different now. Things are different, and people are just, I guess, running amok, and the crime is like way out of control, and it's starting younger and younger. Like there's gangs of kids that are beating people up, and they think it's cool to get into these fights. And I've seen a lot of stuff on X, and it's sad. It's really sad to watch humanity crumble, or maybe this is what humanity is. But it's going to take radical change to make things different. And I understand today we're all about feelings. But you know what? No one ever addressed feelings when we were growing up, and look at how we turned out. A lot of us are not adjusted well to reality. We're on medications for depression or anxiety or this thing or that thing. And a lot of it doesn't need to happen, because if you learn the tools to cope with life, and how to cope with not getting your way, how to cope with things happening, kind of like coping with a cat jumping and getting in your way all the time. Healthy coping skills. And if the parents can't teach that, they're going to have to learn it somewhere. So maybe like through since we're trying to institutionalize everyone, why don't we use that institution to help teach like feelings or something like that? I know when I was in school, there was a couple classes kind of like in the home ec area where it somewhat talked about relationships and things like that. But starting from like preschool and kindergarten, and I don't know if the schools are doing this, because my kids are a little bit older now, and one of them did get kicked out of school and has been like cut off from all of her friends and everything else for something that she did. But it's not like the intent was malicious or anything. She just didn't know any better, and they kicked her out of school. And how is that helping her or anyone? Because now you're cut off from everyone and everything, and it's just hard. It's hard to navigate that when you're a kid and you don't know how to deal with life. And if you have an adult that can't teach you how to deal with these situations, like I was listening to Lindsay a lot, and she said, and this still sticks with me, she's like, I've never been alive before, so I don't know how to do this. Well, a lot of us, we've never been parents before. We don't know what we're doing. And our kids, this is their first experience with life too. See, we don't have all the answers, but if we work together, maybe we can help each other and get out of this big old mess. And change the world, hopefully in a peaceful way, because the way things are going now, it's not good. I mean, we're taught to worship the almighty dollar and worship people rather than just be yourself. Just be who you're meant to be, and everything else will be fine. Cat, seriously? Seriously, I'm in the middle of something. Can you wait? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to sign off because the cat's being the cat. Yeah, so if there's any groups that you know that are out there that help children, send a comment so that other people know this and can check it out. Like if they have kids, if you're someone that's going to be starting something to help our youth, that'd be fantastic to hear from you. And if any kids wanted to talk and share their stories, then they can do that as well. I know that with my Spotify podcast, there's no faces on there. So if anyone wanted to write to me and share, it would just be a voice. And that's all. So, yeah, it's getting a little distracting. All right, I'm going to sign off. Have a great day.